Welcome back to season 31 of 7-Eleven Junior Hockey Magazine. I'm your host, Gino Reda. Time now for the CJHL Report. The Canadian Junior Hockey League brings together 115 teams in the 9 Junior A leagues, involving over 2,500 players from right across the country. And now joining us is Maritime Junior Hockey League President Steve Dykeman. Steve, welcome to the show. Great to catch up with you again, my friend.
Thanks, Gino. Good morning. It feels like it's been a long time.
It has been a long time, and it's been an unusual 19 months or so. What was that window like for you? Because what you guys were experiencing in the Maritimes was at times dramatically different than what was happening across the rest of the country.
It sure was, and I think the last time we talked, I was only a few months into my tenure.
Yeah,
and again, that feels like it was 100 years ago. But a couple seasons later, still going strong. Last season, for everybody, was a challenge. But as you pointed out, we were at sometimes very, very lucky in a very different situation here in the Maritimes, where we were able to play. In some cases, fans in the building, some cases restricted, attendance for fans. So just a real mix of not knowing kind of what you're going to wake up to every day.
So where are you at right now in terms of what you're allowed to do, teams that are allowed to play, that kind of thing?
So we've gone back to, I'll knock on wood for sure, back to relative normalcy. We were allowed fans in the building. Teams are playing both, interprovincially. So teams are able to travel. Obviously, making sure that we're following all of the public health restrictions, vaccination policies of the 3 different provinces of our facilities. But we feel we've done a good job mitigating all the risks as much as we can.
The national championship had to be canceled twice because of the pandemic, but it's back this year, which means also the regional championships are coming back, including the Fred Page Cup, the crowns the Eastern Canadian champion, which the Maritime Junior Hockey League, Summerside's Western Capitals, are going to be hosted in May. How important is it having that event back up and running, and how are preparations going for that?
Yeah, it's really one of those things that everybody looks forward to, and it kind of puts everything in perspective as you're going through the season and planning, and teams are making the adjustments they need to hopefully get one of those spots in the Fred Page Cup. The Summerside Host Committee has hosted a number of high-profile events. You've probably been to a few of them yourself. They're just a class act. They've got a great facility, and they know how to run an event.
Nice, though, as well, because Summerside's ranked number 2 in the national rankings right now, and that's important, especially as a league commissioner saying, we don't want to be hosting the event and have a dog of a team in there, but to have the team that's ranked number 2 in the country, that's got to be encouraging for you.
It's very encouraging, and I would look at all of our games this season, and teams are they're just taking the game to a whole different level, and it's really fun to see.
In conversation with Maritime Junior Hockey League President Steve Dykeman. Steve, your league is going to be hosting a special week of games focused on Indigenous recognition and reconciliation between November 24th and December the 5th. How did this come about, and give us a sense of what you're hoping to accomplish through these events?
Yeah, it was actually at our board meeting, our AGM in the summer. And obviously this was quite topical, spring and summer. And we were literally around the boardroom table talking about it. And one of the governors said we should do something. So this was kind of the genesis of how it all happened, and how our teams, constantly think about their communities and what they can do and how they can help. So really for us, it's about, as you said, it's about reconciliation. It's about showing our respect, kind of shining a light on the issue, and doing whatever we can in our small way to kind of bring that to the forefront.
Really encouraged by the collaboration, the way you've involved First Nations in this. And I think the thing that stands out to me is the special jerseys you guys are going to be wearing, where the message "Every Child Matters" is going to be featured on those jerseys. Give me a sense of the collaboration and how you came about deciding that this was important, and what this means to you guys as a league to be able to do this.
Yeah, for us, there was really no other way to do it than to collaborate. And we do have a number of teams that have really close relationships with their First Nations communities locally in our 12 communities. So it really started with one of the guys who was affiliated with one of our teams coming up with some ideas for the jersey. So, designing the jersey really from scratch, and then taking those designs to I guess, a First Nations committee, for lack of a better word, a number of First Nations leaders, and asking them how they felt about what we put together.
Former NHLer Everett Senepas was the first New Brunswicker or First Nations heritage to play in the NHL, was also a part of this. Tell me about his involvement.
He was kind of one of the first guys that we reached out to and said, "Hey, what do you think of the idea? A, and then B, how should we go about it? Can you give us some advice?" Ran the jerseys by him as well, and he just right from the get start was very supportive and said, "Yeah, I like this idea, and thanks for thinking about us." Really.
What happens to the jerseys afterwards?
So the jerseys will all be auctioned off by the teams, and then we've had requests. Both James and I have had requests from people outside of North America. They've seen it, and they say, this is a great idea. We'd like to have a piece of that idea. So the teams will auction the jerseys off at the end of the 12 or 13 days of our week of games.
If somebody's listening nationally and wants to get involved in the auction of this, where do they go? Where do they look to see this?
They would go straight to either the team pages, so they can get through the team pages through the MHL website, and then likely most of it will be a link through to a Facebook auction site, would be my guess. Every team's doing it a little bit differently, but the team websites would be the best way to get there.
It sounds like a great venture. Something that I'm really encouraged about is the fact that as I speak to league commissioners across the country on a weekly basis, I get the sense that you guys are very, very forward thinking. You've got a great business background, that you're involved at the very high level of business. How important is it to translate the business acumen you had and some of your fellow commissioners across the country and bring that to the league to advance not just the product on the ice, but the support system around the product?
Yeah, we've got a great group of leaders, of team owners, and as we kind of talk and have gone through the last couple of years of planning, they just want to make the game better. They want to do more for the athletes. They want to do more for their communities. So it's a pretty easy brand concept to get behind, if you will. There's just so much good intention and so much hard work behind it. And again, they just want to make it better. They love hockey. We've got lots of great hockey people on the executive here at the MHL. So it kind of gives me that time and space to think about how we can make this league and game better as we move down the road.
Well, we're really encouraged as hockey fans and supporters. We're really encouraged about what you guys are doing right across the country. Thanks for this, Steve. Great catching up with you. I'm glad things are going so much better for you guys right now. Good luck. Thanks,
Gino. Take care.
That was Maritime Junior Hockey League President Steve Dykeman. And that wraps up this week's CJHL Report, the Canadian Junior Hockey League. Your future is here. Still inside 7-Eleven Junior Hockey Magazine, he helped the Windsor Spitfires win back-to-back Memorial Cups in 2009 and 2010. And now he's playing for the Anaheim Ducks. We'll check in with Adam Henrique in this week's edition of Where Are They Now? You're listening to Canada's only nationally syndicated junior hockey radio show. This is season 31 of 7-Eleven Junior Hockey Magazine. And don't forget, you can listen and subscribe to the complete podcast by checking out any of your favorite podcast platforms.